Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just a fair warning, you might realize that the recording standards in this video is not what we usually provide. And by we, I mean I. My recording fucked up. You might notice that the Discord icons freeze from time to time, and that my voice comes through very muffled and very silent. I tried to fix these as much as I could in post, which is why this video came out a little bit late, but me and Santos realized that we'd rather give you a scuffed Christmas special than no Christmas special at all, and we really did love diving into this, so we decided to just push ahead with it. I am deeply sorry, but hopefully you are still able to enjoy this episode. See ya, folks!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Mildly Interesting podcast, a very special episode. It is our Christmas Unsolved Murder Mystery special. Whoa! I am Akash Lush, and this is my co-host,
Johnson.
And this is Mildly Interesting. We might do a few more of these, who knows? We might do some more holiday-themed specials. But I believe, Santos, you made like a poll to see what people wanted to see from us. And they wanted to see this, apparently.
Yeah, true crime was one of the biggest choices in the poll that I made when we were creating this podcast. So do keep your eye out. We might do more of these. It's not going to come out regularly like the, main episodes, like the news episodes we do. But, we'll do it in our free time and hopefully you like it.
Mildly interesting. No, seriously, just mildly interesting.
So, Santos, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the case of JonBenet Ramsey, the 6-year-old child beauty queen killed in her family's home in Colorado in 1996. So she is stated to have died by asphyxiation via strangulation, but everything in this case is just weird and it does not make any sense.
It's not one of those that, it's like it's balls to the walls and everything goes haywire. It's just one of those ones where it has very weird details.
Very, very weird details.
It's got very confusing points that come up during the investigation.
Yeah, why don't we go through the facts one by one, so starting off with the 911 call.
A 911 call that, as you'll see with the rest of this case, it does have some weird elements to it. I'm gonna let it play now.
911 emergency.
We need him. Police.
What's going on?
5515th Street.
What's going on there, ma'am?
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
Explain to me what's going on, okay?
There's a note left and our daughter's gone.
A note was left and your daughter is
Yes.
gone? How old is your daughter?
6 years old. She's blonde. 6 years old.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. I just found the note. And my daughter's
Does it say who took her?
What?
Does it say who took her?
I don't know. There's a ransom note here.
It's a ransom note?
It says SBTC. Victory. Please.
Okay, what's your name? Are you
Kathy Ramsey. I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please.
I'm sending an officer over, okay?
Please.
Do you know how long she's been
No,
gone?
I don't. Please, we just got out and she's right here. Oh my God, please.
Okay,
Please, there's somebody.
I am, honey.
Please.
Take a deep breath for
Please,
me, okay?
hurry.
Patsy?
There's 6 seconds of something that's inaudible.
Right, so after that disturbing 911 call, there's so many things that have, some investigators and the police have come up with. They're just so weird. The way the mother uses certain words like "we" as the kidnapping. For instance, something that investigators in 2016 thought was very, very weird is the fact that she never mentioned the daughter's name. Like, she said, "I'm the mother." She never said the daughter's name, and I don't know, but if your kid has just been kidnapped and you're calling 911, you're probably giving them your daughter's name. You'd be like, "Look, this is my daughter, JonBenet. and she was kidnapped. Please look for her. Please help.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, even that's not even the worst part of this call. Like,
As you could all probably tell from that clip, and forensic linguists and sort of statement analysis have pointed out, usually 911 calls, you stay on that phone call. If you just witnessed a crime happened, or if you're in the middle of an active crime scene or like a kidnapping,
especially if it's your kid.
if it's your kid, you stay on that call for hope, you know, for help. You want to know that like everything's being done to keep your kid safe. And usually you don't put down the phone until the police arrive and you keep giving details. But not only is there like just 6 seconds of, I think people confirmed like something happening in the background, or like once they like analyzed it, there were like 3 separate voices that were talking.
Yeah, so there was 6 seconds. So the mother called, and at the beginning, you know, it seems very trustworthy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But towards the end, especially when she puts the phone down, which, like we said, is just weird. She puts the phone down, and there's 6 seconds of sort of silence with background noise. And in 2016, some investigators tried to decipher what that background noise was. And, you know, they played around with the sound, and they did all their sound magic. And by the way, this is not part of the investigation. This is pure speculation. But they believe that they've heard 3 different voices in the background. And that one of them, the mothers, said, okay, we've called the police. Now what? Which is the most incriminating thing. And I don't mean to like assume or anything, but like this is the most incriminating thing you could possibly say. Like, other than that, just saying you killed them, that's like second best admission, to be honest with you. But one of the main things about the fact there's 3 voices in the tape is that they've said that the brother was 8-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
They said and they maintained that he was asleep throughout the whole night.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's 3 voices in the tape either means there's someone else or that the brother was there and they were lying, which is obviously not a good look if you're trying to solve your daughter's kidnapping and murder.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I know you guys might be thinking, oh, why did they say that the brother was asleep all night? We'll get to that later.
We will get to that. And that's really it for the phone call, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just the phone call we're talking about.
That's already, like, amazingly fucking suspicious. But the best thing, for me anyway, is the note. So there was a note found at the scene. It's a 2.5-page long handwritten ransom note, which demanded over $100,000. The amount itself is very, very interesting because it's nearly identical to the bonus that the father had gotten the year before, the Christmas bonus.
Yeah.
And what's even more interesting than that is the fact that the one who found the body was the father.
Yeah, it's very weird that whoever wrote this note knew these, like, specific details. We'll put a note on screen, and of course we'll link to the note. But, like, when you read the note, it's written in such a weird tone. Like, straight off the bat, it's like, Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully, exclamation point. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. Like, what does that even mean? What do you mean foreign faction? Who talks like that?
So you had a lot of experts look at the note, obviously. And what's very, very interesting is that certain words they have deemed to have been purposely misspelled on purpose.
Oh.
The theory is, or at least that's what they try to take from it, is that these misspellings, which was made on purpose, basically meant that the person who wrote it wanted to pass for non-native English speaker. Which I guess kind of goes with the theme of, like, foreign faction, which is really weird.
It kind of contradicts, like you said, $118,000 was asked for, which is, like you said, like, the exact money of, like, his Christmas bonus or something.
It's a very specific amount.
Yeah. But if this note was from, like, a representative of a foreign faction, like, how would they know that? Why would they ask for that specific amount?
Exactly, like, people at the company of the father were put into, like, people of interest just because of this specific fact. But to me, And this is the make or break fact of this case, is that it was found that the note was written with a pen and a notepad that belonged to the house. So that means that whoever did it, you went to the house, you looked for a notepad and a pen, he wrote the note at the house, all without being seen or heard. It's amazing. Like, this is, to me, this is one of those like make or break details that it's just so preposterous that it doesn't make any sense. One of the investigators in the 2016 documentary, he said this was like an unprecedented action by like a kidnapper, like a murderer. This doesn't happen. They don't go to the house and write a 2.5-page long ransom note.
No.
Using the person's pen and notepad. And it's very interesting, like I've mentioned before, that the father was the one that found the body. And he found it with one of the family friends.
So the 911 call goes out. Police officers come in, right? They search the house, obviously. The first thing you do, you lose a kid, you search the house. One of the officers went up to the basement door, but since it was locked from like the inside of the house, he decided not to search there because he was searching for like escape routes that the kidnapper could have gone out of. And since this had been locked from the inside of the house rather than like the inside of the basement, there was no way the kidnapper could have escaped through there, right? Then like forensics people come in, they quarantine only JonBenet's room, and the rest of the house, like, people walk around. Some visitors came for emotional support. They started cleaning the house. I'm not saying they're suspicious or anything, you know, they just wanted to, I guess, help. Or make, you know, they just wanted to be like, see, we can help you or whatever. But they started cleaning the house. Some of them did. And then when the officers asked for the father and like a family friend to like search the house for any like thing, they basically wanted people who knew the environment to search the house for like anything that was awry. They went to the basement that had been overlooked and found the daughter in one of the rooms, just lying dead, blanket over her, ties around her neck and wrists, duct tape over her mouth.
They did something that is... It just perplexes me. If you're... Tell me something, Akash, right?
Yeah.
You're a father.
Yeah.
Right? There's police in your house because you think your daughter was kidnapped. You found your daughter dead in the basement. Isn't the first thing you do just call the police?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you check on your daughter, obviously, all those, like, emotional responses, but you will call the police, right?
Yeah.
So what he didn't call the police. He grabbed his daughter and he brought her upstairs to the police. If some of you are not like familiar with the way forensics works, for them to be able to investigate a crime scene, it has to be undisturbed, right? And just by taking the body upstairs, he just contaminated the whole crime scene, and basically there's nothing that forensics can do there.
Yeah, it's strange to me that, one, he picked up his dead daughter's body, like that was his first response, and not like, I don't know, just leave it there and just like panic or just cry or break down. Like, his first response was to pick up the dead daughter's body and then like give it to the police.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it was like, oh, here, I found it. Problem solved.
I found my daughter. Oh, she was hiding. No. And also, like, if anyone's read the note, this is in direct contradiction to what was written in the note. Because it says, any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. So, the kidnappers are saying, don't tell anyone, give us money. Otherwise, we'll kill your daughter and you'll never see her again. But the mother calls the police and calls all their family friends. And, you know, by their word, the daughter's dead, but she somehow showed up in the basement.
Yeah, like it's very interesting that you mentioned the remains. Like, as a kidnapper, if you're threatening the family not to have the daughter's remains, it's very weird that she's in the basement.
Yeah, and the thing is, the door was locked from the inside, which means, like, what was the plan there? Were you just hoping that no one would inspect the basement? Were you hoping to, like, get the money and then be like, lol, your daughter was dead all along, she's in your basement that you haven't checked up till now?
I think he planned to find it himself, like, so, like, not incriminate him, you know? I think the thought was, if he finds the daughter, then it couldn't be him. Because it's supposed to be, like, on accident, I guess.
Yeah, this is if we decide that the father did it, which, I mean, you know, that is one of the theories.
That is one of the theories. But you know what's very, very, very interesting as well about the note? It's that the Colorado Bureau of Investigation has already suggested that the one who wrote it was the mom.
Oh, ooh.
So that means that they've analyzed the letter, and they obviously, like, a lot of tests were done, like, you know, fingerprints and whatnot to the parents. They analyzed the letter and they concluded that it was very possible that the one who wrote it was the mother.
Jeez.
It's crazy to me because, like, one of the things that is so characteristic about this case, I think, is the fact, like, you know, you've heard that fact that, you know, most crimes are done by someone that's close to the victim.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, crimes of passion and all that, right? The parents were not even cooperative with the police. The excuse that they said was that they thought that the police was involving them too much, as in, like, suspecting them too much. So therefore, they weren't cooperative.
That just, well, thing is, right? It's that whole thing of, like, if you've got nothing to hide, then it should be like, police will always suspect everyone, right? Daughter murdered in your house, hidden in the basement, which was locked from within the house. So obviously they're going to suspect everyone who was within the house that night. If you don't cooperate with police, they're going to involve you more because you seem suspicious.
And it's your kid. It's your kid. Like, how can you not cooperate with the police when your kid has just been killed? How does that work? How is that not, like, even more sus?
It's ridiculous.
Let's move on to the discovering of the body, because there's a key fact in this that really plays into one of the theories that comes with this case. The autopsy of the body revealed that food that looked like pineapple was in her stomach, which she'd eaten a few hours before she was killed, right?
Right.
The police found a bowl of pineapple on the kitchen table, but both parents said that they don't remember feeding her pineapple. What's more interesting here to me is that the police found the brother's fingerprints on the bowl, and if you'll remember what we said earlier, the parents said that the kid was asleep all night. So if the kid was asleep all night, what's with the fingerprints?
It just doesn't make sense again. And like we said, parents said kid was asleep all night. So how did his fingerprints end up on the bowl? How did the pineapple end up in JonBenet's stomach if both the parents don't remember feeding her? And who was the third voice in the 911 call analysis? Like, it just, everything that we know doesn't line up with what the parents tell us.
Exactly. And again, the three voices thing can be rebuked by the fact that it's an analysis and it's not hard evidence. It's just like an interpretation of what they heard, along with the quote that I said earlier that the mother said. And if you go into it, there's more quotes, but it's really this is the flimsy part of the theory, but it still very much plays into all the other facts that can be considered hard evidence, like the fingerprints. But yeah, theories. Before we say what theories, like official theories, there are about this case, what do you think, Akash? What do you think happened here?
None of this seems real. Like, it just seems like so much is confusing and contradictory and just ridiculous. So here's what I think. I genuinely think somehow, some way, there was an accident in the house that killed JonBenet Ramsey. Because both the parents, to my knowledge, didn't have a history of violent tendencies, and a child psychologist claimed that Burke Ramsey, the brother, was sane. He was alright.
He was okay.
He was cool. But I believed that, like, she straight up just died from an accident somehow, because the autopsy said she died from asphyxiation, but also from damage to the brain, like some sort of force that caved in her head. So I think dad's doing some heavy duty lifting, or mom's doing something, and something heavy falls on JonBenet Ramsey's head, kills her. They don't want to be guilty of it. So, what do? They make it seem like a ransom, a murder. They do her up all bad. The brother wakes up from all the hullabaloo. They try and keep him out of it. And then they stick her body in the basement, lock the basement from the inside. They write the ransom note to make it seem weird and completely foreign and not written by them. And then they call the police. And yeah, that's what we know. Because it just doesn't... Nothing adds up. If we believe the parents 100%, nothing adds up. So they have to be involved somehow.
Yeah, I do sort of agree with you in the sense that I do think it was someone inside the house. I don't think it was either of the parents, though. I think after listening to, the 911 call and the analysis by the investigators, do you remember when I said that the mother is thought, and I want to emphasize the word thought, to have said, okay, we've called the police, now what?
Yeah.
Right? That says to me that she doesn't really know what to do. To me, that says that it wasn't her. She's like as panicked as, anyone else. So to me, I do agree it was an accident that killed their daughter, but I do think, and again, this goes with the most talked about theory, I do think it was the brother.
Ooh, okay.
I think the brother, on accident, probably either hit his sister or like pushed her maybe, or something happened that led to his sister's death, and the parents trying not to, obviously trying to make it all okay, staged the scene. Like, wrote the note, called 911, put her, with a duct tape over her mouth, all of that. To me, what makes this is the fact that they said that the brother was asleep. And I think they said that so that no attention would be given to the brother whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I do believe that it was the brother by accident, and then the parents tried to, sort of like make it seem like it wasn't.
Yeah.
Now, the main theory, or at least the one that gets talked about the most, is the one that I've just said, that something happened, the brother did it, and the parents tried to cover it up. The other theory is the intruder theory. That's the idea that someone actually entered the house, right, and, killed the kid. There's like some sort of, not evidence, but an idea why it could be. For example, the fact that she was in like all these beauty pageants could mean that she was like a target for like pedophiles and sex offenders, of which, by the way, at the time, there were 38 within 3 kilometers, which is a very, very frightening statistic, by the way. Maybe she was a target for like pedophiles and child pornographers, for instance. Thus why, for instance, some evidence was found that she had her vagina wiped with a cloth. That's a theory. I do think it's very unlikely, because one of the things that the police found was the fact that there was no signs of forced entry. The only way the person could have gone through without forced entry was through a broken basement window or the unlocked door. All these ways that the killer could have gone through were absolutely undisturbed. So there were cobwebs intact, there was dust all over the window and door, which means if there's dust, basically, if there's no interruption or like disturbance in the dust, just means that nothing went through it. So the fact that there's no evidence of, forced entry, the fact that door was closed from the inside out, and the fact that they've lied about the brother being asleep really just does it to me on this idea that someone else did it.
Like you said, not only was it found that the note was written by tools inside the house,
It was suggested. But, the fact that there is a suggestion in the first place,
but also there was stuff tied to her neck, and part of it was a broken paintbrush, and police allegedly found like parts that fit with the broken piece of that paintbrush within the mother's box of like art supplies. They never found like the full paintbrush to confirm this, which is going to be a recurring theme with this case. Like, it's sort of like the Madeleine McCann case, where every time you feel like they have enough evidence to show someone did it, it's just never enough. Like, it always seems like someone else did it.
it's one of those cases where it's just like, it seems like there's so much evidence, but at the same time, there's no art evidence whatsoever, and mainly because most of the scene was contaminated. I don't think that there will ever be a resolution to this mystery.
No, I don't.
But as far as I'm concerned, if I were to bet on anyone, it would be one of the family members and probably the brother.
It was someone within the house that definitely had to have done it. If it was an intruder, they would have had to get into the house through the broken window or something, right? They would have had to kidnap the girl and maybe kill her on site. Who knows what they did if it was an intruder. They would have then put the body in the basement, locked the basement door, and then somehow escape some other way.
And they had to write the ransom note, which would take about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They would have to go through the mother's art supplies to get the paintbrush.
Yeah.
They would have to look for a pen, a notepad to write the note. All without being seen or heard. It doesn't make any sense. So final conclusions for you. Real quick, final conclusion. Who did it?
Final conclusion, it was an accident by the family. I probably would go with your theory that the brother accidentally killed her or something, and the parents tried to cover it up. That's my best guess.
My best guess is exactly what you said. Probably the brother and the parents did try to cover it up. But unfortunately, I don't think we're ever gonna discover what it was, so food for thought.
Thank you for tuning in to our sort of deep dive into the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. We hope you had a mildly interesting time listening to it. Follow us on all of the social medias: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. We got them all. Follow this podcast, like it. Visit our website. I've been Akash, and this has been my co-host,
João Santos.
We might do this again another time. We might have some more festive special episodes coming along. Stay tuned. Contact us, obviously, with your answers to the mysterious riddle of who done it. But yeah, other than that, nice day, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Mildly interesting. No, seriously, just mildly interesting.